Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie Jessica.
So it's time for us to do our 1-minute book recs again. This is where we go over all the books that we read this week with 1-minute reviews of each book. So let's do that. Before we get started though, Mandy, what do we need to tell them?
Okay, make sure to hit that subscribe button and follow us on Instagram for an extra entry in our Road to 1K giveaway. We have the dark romance cinch sack full of some swag along with Twisted Love.
All right. And all that information is linked down below. Our Instagram and stuff is all down below. So don't forget to do that. Okay, so tell me about your reading week. I was gone. I missed you.
Did you?
I did. I did. You know, at least this time we weren't reading like the same book where we really needed to talk to each other and we couldn't. So
yeah, that was rough.
That was really rough.
I read 10 books. I had 2 5 stars, but obviously the others were all like 4s and 3s. I was like beginning to feel like I wasn't going to get a 5-star this week at times.
5. Okay. Sorry. I forgot to add.
Books did you read, Jessica?
I read 8. That includes the one that we had for our buddy read that we'll both talk about.
I beat you?
Yes. Yes.
That never happens.
Yay. Well, we were camping and we actually, this time the kids were with us, or at least one of them was with us. And I had to spend a little bit more mommy time than I would if it was just the husband and I camping, where that would have been just the husband and I, where I'd be like, leave me alone. I'm in the hammock reading my book. I couldn't do that when my kid was with me. So, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything went down. But we did ask on our community tab for people to guess how many books I...
Yes, I put that on Instagram too while you were gone.
You?
Yes.
Okay. So guys, you kind of all lowballed me there. You haven't figured out how crazy I am. I actually downloaded 58 books. Why I download? I mean, it's so sad. I think that's just part of being a mood reader. Is like, I was like, well, what if I change my mind? Because I went into this week thinking I was going to read certain books that I didn't even touch while I was there. So
if you downloaded 58 books, you can only have 20 from Kindle Unlimited. So you went and bought that many more extra books.
That's Kindle Unlimited, and that is my Audible books from Audible.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And then some of them I already own for other reasons. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So no, I didn't go buy all those books this week. Jeez Louise. No.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So how many did you say you had this week?
10.
So you got to start us out.
Okay. My first one is our buddy read though, so we'll let you talk about that one.
Oh, no. You go right ahead because I can't even tell you what it was about. It was just that wonderful.
Oh, okay.
I barely remember. So we'll both just stay on the camera. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we read Minks as our buddy read, and you can go watch that video if you'd like to see it. The live show is recorded and would be on Amber Reads Romance channel. Mm-hmm. So we read Minks by Sophie Lark. This is about Ramses. Is that how we say his name?
Ramses.
And Blake. And our friend Jen, a bookmark by Jen, who also is part of our buddy read, recently did a video where she did a pity for, and it cracked me up. But
it's a pity for.
I think we all ended up with the pity for this book. So we all agreed that we really like Sophie Lark. This book it was different. You worded it really well on your Goodreads thing about how she took a risk, and you love her for that. And sometimes it works and sometimes it didn't. Mm-hmm. But for us, it just didn't really work. The writing is good. So it wasn't a book where you're like, oh, I can't even read this. It was just different. So Blake is a high-end escort. Ramses is this like high-powered investor billionaire guy, and he sees Blake and just decides he wants her. I could not connect why he wants her. She's still dating other clients and all this, and I didn't see the draw to her. So that was part of my problem. And then there's a lot of cat play in this.
Kitty feline play.
Yeah, which was, I mean, it's always great to read something very different, but for me, it was a little too much.
It just wasn't, it was just, you know, like I said, kudos to Sophie for trying something new. And for some people, it's going to be amazing. And for the rest of us, it's going to be like, what the hell? And that's what it was.
Yes.
It was like, what is this? So, but, you know, she stepped out of the box.
Sounds like something you want to take a peek at. If you're interested in learning more about this cat play stuff, go read Minks. It's not horrible, so I don't think you'd be sorry that you read it. You're just don't judge. If you've not read Sophie Lark, don't judge her by this book. So my next read of the week was called Dancing with Sin by Alexandria Lee. This is an author that's going to be at Love in Vegas, so I was excited to read something from her. I love the idea of this book, but it didn't just stick with me. So this is about Alice and Ethan. Alice moves, her boyfriend cheats on her, life kind of just falls apart in New York. So she moves to Chicago to live with her sister and her sister's fiance. And her sister's fiance, Ethan, just really kind of click. Her sister is not portrayed as a bad person at all in this book. She's just really driven by her work and not what Ethan needs, if that makes sense. So she falls for her sister's fiance and he falls for her. And that's what the story is about. I thought I would love it because it just sounds so good. But it was a 3-star read. So I liked it. It just didn't quite get me with the angst and all of that. There was a lot of, it's a long book, and there's a lot of narration in between dialogue. And so I could have done with more dialogue between the characters to kind of see feelings developing more. And I felt like, I mean, this is her sister and she likes her sister. And so I don't have siblings, but I was thinking, like, if this was you or one of my other really close friends, like, I couldn't do that. Like, you have to make that pull between the two of them, like, really intense for somebody to give in on that. So that, I think, is maybe why. But again, I liked it. I think I'm getting harder on how I rate books.
Probably. I remember growing up, because I do have a sister. And I remember my mom saying to me that we do not have the same taste in guys.
I was going to say, I don't think there's anything to worry about here.
No, as adults, we do not have the same taste in guys. But I do remember my mom telling me, like, when we were first starting to date and stuff, that you don't let a boy come in the middle of that situation, and that you know, there was some really strong wording that had been done there, and that your sister comes before a boy, and if a boy's in the middle, he is not worth it. So there was a lot of that. Like, you to see a pull there, that's your sister.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Yeah. Anyhow, so let's talk about my first book.
Okay.
So my first book is called One Pucked Up Pack. So this is a Omegaverse reverse harem hockey romance. So this is like all the tropes. This is all the tropes. It's all in one. It's just great. I gave this one 4 stars. It's about Charlie, or they call her all sorts of different nicknames. Charlotte was her name. And she meets these 3 guys who are they're just getting ready to make it big. They're just getting ready to go out for the NHL. And they are all scent matches for her, which means they're like they're perfect matches. They're perfect mates. And so their meet cute is friggin' hilarious. She gets whacked in the tit with a hockey puck, so it's awesome. And then they're just getting ready to make it big, and then things happen. Like, how do you make a relationship work between 4 people when 3 of the 4 are about to be signed on to big hockey leagues all over the country? And so that's kind of that's what this is about. It was actually really good. I really enjoyed it. I've been waiting for this one to come out. The audio came out this last week, so I listened to this one. It was great. I'm so gonna make you read Omegaverse at some point.
I already did.
Oh, I know, and you didn't even realize you were doing it, did you?
I realized something.
Okay. What's your next book?
Okay, my next book is called Broken Sparrow by Chelle.
Sure. Yeah.
Is it like a Shelley but with a Chelly, or is it Shelley just spelled with the CH? I don't know. Bliss is the last name. So it's called Broken Sparrow. This is about Morris and Alice. And it's an MC, so I was very excited. Morris meets Alice when she just left her husband with her 6-year-old daughter. And he was very, very abusive to her, not to her daughter, but she realized she just needed to get out of the situation. So she has this huge plan executed, and things go wrong, of course, while she's escaping. And she's trying to pay for a hot dog and water, and her card keeps getting declined. And so he steps in and pays for it. I don't know why, but he says, here's my phone number. Call me if anything goes awry and you need to talk to me. And so she goes on her way. Her car breaks down. So she calls him because she really has no one else to call. And we go from there. This is the most craziest insta-love story I have probably ever read. And I didn't get the insta-love at all. Like, he goes from saying he doesn't want kids or anything like this with this other girl. Like, he's just kind of ending it with her when the book starts, like before he walks into the gas station. Okay. She has the 6-year-old daughter. All of a sudden, he's calling her baby and taking care of her. It started off so strong and then just went for me.
Not to mention, you just meet a stranger, pay for their hot dog, and be like, here's my number.
Yeah, it was really odd. So in the book, she's like, are you like Toys for Tots MC, or like, I can't remember what the other one was, like Hell's Angel or something like that. So he says he's in there somewhere in between. I'm going to say that their motorcycle club is like Toys for Tots. And I thought that was funny, so I'm going to start using that to compare motorcycle gangs, like Hell's Angels or Toys for Tots. Anyway, so it was a 3-star read. It started off great. I'm like, ooh, this is a new MC series that I am not going to be able to not read. And then just the insta love, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to overlook that because she needed some way for him to come to her rescue. I would have written the book where she breaks down and he happens to ride by.
Yeah, because
that's the chick from the gas station.
That just makes so much more sense.
Something like that, but that's not how she wrote it. And then from there, maybe I could have overlooked a little bit of the insta-love stuff. I don't know. I don't mind insta-love, but you have to give me this.
Tell me that it's
connection that snaps these two into place that quickly.
I know. I come down pretty hard on insta-love, but then I go, wait, I was engaged to my husband within 5 months. So we were pretty insta-lovey, but I don't want it in my romance.
I don't even think that's insta-lovey in this case. I'm talking less than, like, he meets her at the gas station, gives her her phone number, picks her up off the side of the street, and is now planning their life together.
No.
Like, it hasn't even been 24 hours.
I didn't like my husband in the first 24 hours. They took a second date.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Hey.
Okay.
Your next book is better than mine.
It was better than yours.
Fantastic. Let's hear about it.
Okay, so I read Hot Alpha Alien Husband's number 2. It was better than yours, Mandy. So this is about Zane and Tanya. So I read the first book last week. This is by D.D. Prince. I actually really like these ones for as far as like what are these alien romances? The aliens are very humanoid. They're just bigger than human men, and they're far more advanced technologically. I can't say that word. But Zane is a single father. When that sickness came through and wiped out all the women, his wife was pregnant with their son, and he had a 2-year-old daughter. So the wife and the 2-year-old daughter did not survive. And so now he is a single father to Ollie, who is 4. And then you have Tanya. She is our heroine. She is a virgin librarian with her own trauma. And she's very quiet and meek. And she decides when she gets here that that's not who she wants to be anymore. And so this is their story. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. It was good. It is hard to find good alien romance. This one was good. Plus, it wasn't too weird because they were just like normal people. They just had a little more advancements in the technology stuff. Stop laughing.
Okay. My next book is called Stepbrother Dearest by Penelope Ward.
I read that.
So this is forbidden stepbrother situation. It's Alec and Greta. And Alec is kind of a jerk to Greta when he first comes to live with them their senior year. And things happen between the two of them, and he abruptly ends up leaving to go back to live with his mom. But Greta has never gotten over him. And years later, there's some tragedy which forces him to come back. And he comes back and they see each other for the first time in several years. And this is them seeing each other for the first time in several years. I rated this 4 stars. I'm going to just wrap it up. It didn't quite have the angsty, forbidden part that I would have liked from this type of a romance. It was still good. It was 4 stars, so that means I did really like it. It was just what kept it from being that 5 stars. It didn't quite have the angst at the beginning. There's angst afterwards when they're adults, and it's not so much more. It's not so forbidden anymore, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Hey, you keep using your hands to speak, and I keep meaning. How's the hand?
Oh, it's fine now.
I keep looking like when you're. Oh, we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
My hands have always been chubby, but yeah, they're normal now.
I can parts that are chubby
grasp
too.
Things again.
Ooh.
I couldn't even hold a doorknob for a while. Like to get out, I had to use my left hand.
All right.
Okay.
So my next book.
Yes, your next book.
Okay. So this is the one I was telling you about, Mandy. This is called Two Wrongs. This is by Kimberly Carrillo or Carrillo. I don't know how there's 2 L's. So my Spanish class from high school wants to come out then. Okay, so this is what?
I took French. It's paying off in dividends.
I bet it is. So this is about Ren. She's our heroine. There is a 19-year age gap in this book. When this book starts out, I forgot why I had pre-ordered it or the audio until it started. And we got to the hero's POV and it was Griffin, her father-in-law. And I was like, oh, now I remember. So this is her husband ends up cheating on her. She catches him on their 5-year anniversary. Her father-in-law takes her on to try and find him. Her father-in-law has always been mean to her and she just thought he didn't like her. Turns out like he liked her too much. And so this is a age gap father-in-law situation. That was intentional. I just kept picturing Jeffrey Dean Morgan the whole time, so I was all about it. I'm still wavering between a 4 and a 5. I think we should go for 4.5. I don't know. I really liked this one. It could have been even angstier. There was angst. It just didn't feel the angst enough to give it a full 5, I think. But I loved it. It was great. It was so good. So, I mean, duh. Because then things come out and she's got to stick around. There's reasons she's got to stick around. It was good. It was really good. I'm telling you. Okay, so your next book.
My next book is called One Last Time by Corinne Michaels. This is about a 40-year-old divorcee, Kristen, and a movie star called Nash. So Kristen and her husband get divorced. She has 2 kids. She has a friend who is married to a famous movie star who has famous movie star friends. And he and her help get Kristen a job working for this company where she can interview celebrities. And he agrees to help her with some of his celebrity friends get these interviews. So that's how she meets Nash. She's trying to interview him, but she ends up really falling for him and he falls for her too. And she has some insecurities because her husband really put her down a lot. And then, they're getting divorced and she just never thought that's where her life would end up. So she struggles with some insecurities, but Nash is so wonderful and just really makes her feel loved and special. I really enjoyed it. It was 4 stars for me.
Okay.
Usually I don't care about reading about because I'm probably in my 40s reading about 40-year-old divorcees. But I enjoyed this one.
Yeah, I don't like reading anything that reminds me how old I am.
A nice palate cleanser.
Good. All right. So I read The Rivalry by Nikki Sloan. This is a football romance. It's a college football romance. Because Mandy's making me. But no, it was actually good. This is a 4-star read. This is just one of those things where I wanted to kind of climb through and strangle the heroine because her family is very, 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 very into football. She was born after a Buckeye game, a college Buckeye, Ohio Buckeyes game, like on the field because her mother wouldn't go to the hospital. And her dad is a retired coach for them. And so they bleed Buckeyes. Okay. Like they bleed the red. She meets a guy at a wedding, Jay. So her name is Kayla. His name is Jay. And she meets Jay at a wedding. Well, he is actually he's a tight end for Michigan. And they're rival college football peoples. And so she's like, my family's going to disown me, but they really like each other. So there's this part of me not being a football person other than just listening to my husband yell at the football people on TV like they can actually hear him, which makes no sense at all. But it's okay. Other than that doesn't work for me. So I'm kind of like, I don't get the problem. They're your parents. Why would this be a problem? For crazy football people, I understand it's a problem. But it was still a good book. It was a 4-star read. I get it. I'm like, I get it, but I don't get it because I'm like, seriously, are we just causing drama to cause drama? I mean, I don't think my husband would disown our child if she was dating somebody who wasn't a Buffalo Bills fan. I don't get it. But okay. Weird football things.
You don't understand football. Goodness.
I mean, I guess if she was dating somebody who was a New York Giants fan, maybe it would be a problem. I don't know. Would it?
All right.
He's giving me a weird look. Okay.
Can I do my next book now?
Yes, do your next book.
Okay, my next book is called Her Prison Pen Pal by Danny Wyatt. I enjoyed this book. It was a solid 4 stars. It was super fun to read. I don't know if it's supposed to be fun, but I enjoyed it. So this is about Daphne, who is writing to Dutch, who is in prison. And her brother got framed for something by one of his friends and ended up in prison, and Dutch was his cellmate. And Dutch helped him out. And so they stayed friends after her brother got out. And she started writing to him, just thanking him for kind of helping her brother and stuff like that. And from there, they became pen pals. This book could have been like 4 times as long and had like more buildup from when they did the letter writing towards each other. We only see a few letters between the two of them, but it was great. And then he gets out, and because her brother, he had been so helpful, her brother gets him a job with his parents in their shop, and they have like a little guest house on their property. So they let him come stay with him. And he is very excited to meet Daphne in real life because he really feels this connection to her through their letter writings, as does she to Dutch. And so this is very like insta-lovey too, like insta chemistry attraction, but you understand how they got there. You know what I mean? They actually were falling for each other through the letters, and then seeing each other. They're like, boom, magnets. So I want to just read a quote from this book to you, Jessica. Okay. So this book has like a little bit of a breeding kink in it. And
a little bit.
It says, Daphne smiles, and it feels like my balls fill with a pint of baby-making cream ready to top off her womb with every drop.
I'm here for it.
I knew you would be. So there's insane stuff like that in this book, and I still loved it. It's really good.
Oh, it's awesome. You can't make that stuff up.
No.
I just, I sometimes think I can come up with funny things, but then something like that comes along and I'm like, yeah, nope, I'm not that good.
Yep. Okay, what's your next one?
Okay, so I read Blizzard by Addison Jane. So this is like the 4th book in her biker chick series, Club Girl series. That's what it's called, Club Girl series, that I was reading last month. This is basically a redemption arc for Rose. We've seen Rose in the first couple of books. She's actually the niece to some big New York Italian mafia dude, and she's made some decisions that kind of suck and got her into some trouble with the MC. And she'd had a relationship with Blizzard, and so he's butthurt because of the things she chose to do. And so this is their second chance romance. I gave it 3 stars. Done. It was fine while I was reading it. I enjoyed it while I was reading it. It's just not something I'm going to be like, ooh, yay, that's amazing. I don't think I'm going to continue on. I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, I listened to Special Delivery by Lauren Blakely. This is in the Audible free catalog, but on my phone, I had it just sitting in my library, and on my phone, it said it was only going to be available through like September 14th. So I don't know if it's going to cost a credit now or what's happening with it. So I'm like, ooh, I better listen to it. It's Christmas. I don't know if I said that yet. So this is about Quinn, who's a party planner, and her brother and his business partner are throwing a party at Christmas for all of their employees. And her brother's business partner, Vaughn, is going to work with her to kind of organize this party. And this is a short listen. So the two of them like are spending all this time together, and they're very attracted to each other. And let's just say more than party planning is happening.
Mm-hmm.
It was 4 stars. I enjoyed it.
Okay, good.
It's still available. It would be a great Christmas listen while you're like wrapping Christmas presents and stuff.
Yeah. If you can get it then, right?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with it, but I'm like, oh, better listen.
It might be back on at Christmas time too.
Maybe.
Who knows? Yeah. Okay, so my next book was a reread. I did a reread. What?
I'm on pens and needles.
Tryst in the Dark by Grace McGinty. I said I would do it, and I did it. I needed to do it. So this is a Omega Lottery, Omegaverse story. So this is about Tryst. She's our heroine, and in this world, it's set into the future. We don't know how far into the future, but it's in the future. There's been like another war, and we fought that with nukes, so that kind of sucked because it changed the DNA of the humans. So you have your alphas and your omegas. They believe came from that. Birth rates have dropped, and betas, just those regular average Joes, are just not having kids. And the ones who are able to have kids are pretty much having boys. So the only ones who are having girls are omegas. So in the United States at this point, when you turn 16 and you present as omega, you basically become a property of the country. And you are protected and kept isolated until you're 21. And then they hold the allotment or a lottery. And over the course of several weeks, each week, a new guy is chosen out of all of the men. They use your social security number. All of the beta and alpha men who are single in the United States. And if they have other ties, it doesn't matter. They're brought in within 24 hours, and then you have to bond with them that night. So that means they have to get jiggy with it that night. So this is Trist's story. She bucks the system quite a bit. She does not conform. And so then she gets where she's kind of punished by the government, where instead of like giving her a week, they draw within the same week more than one, and those kinds of things where they're like, let's just get this over with. So she gets some really awesome mates, but she has a hard time too. I love it. It's still a 5-star read. I love it. It's my very favorite Omegaverse book. Period.
Grace McGinty and Jessica's reviews. Reason we implemented the 1-minute bookrecs.
She's not kidding. And then we started doing it, and Mandy goes, oh, maybe I'm the problem.
We would have been here for another 20 minutes.
No, not for that one. No. Just sticks and stones.
Okay, Jessica, you are going to love what I read next.
Oh, good.
Touching my hair and making it do weird stuff.
Don't do that.
Okay. Anyway.
Okay.
I read The Pucking Wrong Number by C.R. Jane.
Yay. Are you as crazy as me? Did you actually like it?
I loved it.
Oh, good.
It was 5 stars.
Yay!
So this is about Lincoln and Monroe. Monroe has not had an easy life. and she is trying to get by. She's working a bunch, trying to go to school, and still struggling. She does not have a support system. And Lincoln accidentally texts Monroe, and they kind of go back and forth. And at first, Lincoln thinks that she does know who he is and she's just messing with him. And then he realizes that she has no clue, which then prompts him to start stalking her. And from there, they end up meeting, and he is like an obsessive guy when it comes to her. Like, he's fallen for her. He wants to make her life better, and he will stop at nothing to make sure that she loves him and she accepts that he's going to make her life better. I understand why she resisted some of the things that he was trying to do for her, but I was also like, come on, like, he's just trying to make it so you are
Don't have to
okay.
worry.
Like, he wants to take care of you. Let him.
Apparently, I'm too easy, like, when it comes to those kinds of things. I'd be like, okay. Oh, okay. Like, you want to pay for that? Sure. You go right ahead, buddy.
Yes. I loved it. It was 5 stars for me. I cannot wait to read the next one.
I know, that's on my TBR for September because it comes out in September.
Yeah.
Loved it. Yeah. Before we switch over, I'm going to talk about my last book, but I have to give an apology first.
I still have 2 books to talk about.
I know, this is my last one, and you read more than me.
Okay.
Because Minks would have been after this.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, Miss Karen Crompton, I am so sorry that I did not read your book sooner, because, hello. So, here's my formal apology on YouTube on the videos. I'm an idiot, and everybody should run out and read Lyrics of Her. It was 99 cents week before last. I don't know if it's still 99 cents to buy, but it is on Kindle Unlimited, I think. But everybody should be reading this daggone book. So let's talk about it. You switch to me now.
Sorry, I just want to hear you talk about it. Aren't you glad that I told you she was a great author?
I am just so glad that we met her, first of all, because she's just awesome. Just love her to death. But her books are so good. And her writing, like, this is how I feel about Grace McGinty's writing too. Maybe it's an Australian thing because they're both from Australia. But the writing is so easy. It's not like it's dumbed down. It's easy. Like, you fall into it very easily. It's very smooth. And you don't realize you've been reading for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours until you're like, oh crap, I'm almost done with this book. Like, because it sucks you in and it just flows. Just, her writing style is amazing. It's just so easy. It's easy to love. Yeah. So, yeah. So I'll tell you about this book. I got the pretty, what's mine? This is mine is what do they call that, Mandy? Do you remember?
The foil.
Thank you. It's the foil cover. So this is Lyrics of Her by Karen Crompton. This is about Reed. Reed is a total daddy and a total snack, and I take him in a heartbeat. So he is the lead singer for a rock band, and he gets accused of plagiarizing a song. So Brindley is our heroine, and she is the one who accuses him of plagiarizing this song of hers. She's kind of down on her luck. Like, she's just moved to New York and she's struggling to make it, as you would in New York. She's a singer-songwriter, and she files a suit against him in the beginning of the book because she believes that he stole her music. And so that is where this book starts out. I love watching, like, because my thought was, how do you make that work? Like, how do you get a love story out of this? But it was awesome. It was so awesome. I loved watching. I just want to pet the book. It's so pretty. I saved a quote from this, because this one you and I can, like, totally, I told my husband, if you talk to me like this more often, that, he would just be my absolute favorite. And so all night long last night, I heard a certain phrase, and I'll tell you what it was after getting reading this. So they're on their way to meet his mom for the first time. And she's begging him to stop and pick up cheesecake. Do you remember this part?
Yes.
Yeah, she's like, I can't go without cheesecake. And I'm like, get the girl some cheesecake. You can't go anywhere without cheesecake. Mandy loves cheesecake. I refused to eat it until she forced me to when we were seniors in high school. I love cheesecake.
Also, yes, thank you.
Well, my husband loves cheesecake too.
The moral of the story is you just need to listen to me a lot sooner than you do.
Apparently. Okay. So the quote is, this is Reed talking to Brindley. And he's like, okay, he says, shaking his head slightly, and then adds, calm your tits, Tink. If it makes you happy, well, get a fucking cheesecake. I told my husband, I was like, why don't you talk to me like that? And so all day long, all I heard was calm your tits. I tell him something, he told me to calm my tits. I'm like, no, it's the part about just stopping to get me a cheesecake.
Well, she didn't want to show up empty-handed meeting his mom.
But dude, the whole calm your tits, if you want a cheesecake, we'll get a fucking cheesecake. I'm like, that is daddy material right there. That man is willing to stop and buy you a cheesecake, okay? Any man willing to stop and buy you a cheesecake, you keep him. Yeah. Anyhow, 5 stars. Loved the book. It was awesome. She got a cheesecake, and it was good. So yeah.
I would just like to point out that's like not what the book is about. You're like obsessing over something.
It was just because it was just me and you and cheesecake, and I was like, this is perfect. And it, just the way he told her to calm her tits. And then all night long I heard calm your tits.
I'm sorry.
I know, I should have never.
Okay. So my next book is one that you have highly recommended.
Okay.
Do you want to guess what it is? We could be here all day.
Yeah, we could be here all day. So you just tell me.
Okay. Painted Scars.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right. Neva Altive.
I've heard it as Altage, but I've also, in the audio, the person who's reading the audio refers to it as Altai. So I kind of tend to lean a little more towards that.
Neva Altai. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, though.
Okay. So I read it. I loved it. 5 stars. So this is dark Mafia. We have Nina and Roman. Roman is like the head of the Mafia world in this story. And Nina's dad decides to borrow $3 million from the Mafia because this sounds like a smart idea. And he's not able to return the money. And so Roman is kind of in a weird situation. He was in an accident and his knee was shattered. So he's in a wheelchair, and his loyal soldier is very concerned that there's going to be some upheaval. Somebody's going to try and take him out because they're going to see him as weak. And in the meantime, he's learning to walk, but he uses his wheelchair most of the time. So everyone believes he is wheelchair bound. And so they say, what you need to do is you need to marry. So that way you have this wife. And then when you should be done healing an X amount of, I forgot to set the timer.
Of course.
An X amount of time, then you guys can get divorced and you'll be walking and all will be right in our Mafia world. And so because Nina's dad borrowed that money, instead of killing him, they're like, Roman's going to marry Nina. And the dad's like, okay.
Yeah.
And Roman is not your typical Mafia guy. Like, he's just like, this is a name only. I'm not going to be running around doing stuff and embarrassing you. I'm not going to force you to do anything. And Nina's like, okay. And, you know, of course, there's feelings involved.
Yeah.
And we go from there. I loved it. I can't wait to read the next one.
I do like that all the guys in her Perfectly Imperfect series are very big about consent. And even if it's an arranged marriage situation, they're very big on the whole consent. Like, when you're ready is when we're doing this.
Yeah.
If we ever do this. So I did like that they had that. As much as I love the whole, like, nope, it's your wedding night and you're doing it whether you like it or not part in books.
Like in Cora Riley's world.
Yes. And I'm fine with that too. It was just kind of nice to see that in these books.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Okay. My last book is Heat for Hire by, V.K. Ludwig. Mm-hmm. And this is my alien book that I chose from the Convincing My Bestie. That video will be out on Thursday, so you can hear all about other alien books and how I liked it. A really quick synopsis is that, yeah, there is no real quick synopsis. This was a wild book. So yeah, Jessica loved it and recommended it. So if you like aliens, make sure you check out our video on Thursday. And then I think that wraps up our 1 minute book recs.
Does. So thank you guys so much for watching.
Make sure to check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us.
Until then, we'll see you guys in the next video.